we are talking to Prosecutor General Richard Padulyon. Good afternoon, sir. Can you hear us okay?
Yes, I can hear you. Good afternoon to everyone, and thank you for the invitation.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you
Good
for joining
afternoon
us this
po.
afternoon.
Amy.
Good afternoon, Attorney.
Good afternoon, Sir Ronald.
Sir, everybody's waiting for word on kailan talaga magsasampa ng demanda. What I understand from your statement nung Friday was that you're looking at 5 cases to be filed possibly by middle of December against DPWH officials. I think that's what you said in the Senate. But I suppose a lot of people are also waiting for whether or not you're also filing cases against people in the legislature, whether congressmen or senators.
Yes, sir.
Attorney, anong relasyon dyan nung ginagawa nyo dun sa ombudsman na sabi kagabi ay sasampahan niya yung kaso specific na mga senador, specific na mga kongresista at specific na mga kontraktor at saka tiga DPWH sa December 15? Kamusta ba yung coordination nyo dyan sa sinabi ni Ombudsman Remulla kagabi?
Yes, sir. I'll first address the question that was raised by Sir Ed. It's correct po, yung sinabi ko po nung Friday during the hearing that we have 5 cases which we are investigating now. These are ghost projects, flood control projects involving DPWH officials from Bulacan District 1. And this is undergoing preliminary investigation right now. Hindi po natin sinasabi na nililimita natin yung ating investigasyon dito lamang sa mga opisyal ng DPWH. Nagkataon lamang po na sa ngayon, wala pa po talagang ebidensya kami na hawak, no, na maglilink doon sa mga proponent from the DPWH officials. We also have to also consider na if you look at the whole story, meron ho talagang involvement yan from down, which is DPWH, from the bidding, all the way up to the proponent. But pag titingnan po rin natin, meron na pong mga offenses or crimes na sa tingin namin ay na-consummate even from the level ng DPWH. Kaya inuna na namin isampa ito without prejudice to the results of the evidence gathering that we're doing now insofar as others who are involved. This includes proponents. Doon naman po sa question ni Sir Ronald, we do coordinate with the Office of the Ombudsman. Kaya lamang po, meron po kasing nagpa-file ng kaso directly with the Office of the Ombudsman, katulad po ng ICI, na hindi naman po pinadadaan sa amin. Ang ginagawa po ng Department of Justice, hanggang kaya po at sako po ito ng jurisdiction namin. To say, cases being within the jurisdiction of the Regional Trial Court, we will not wait for instructions from the Ombudsman. We will really start investigating them. But for purposes of coordination, we refer it to them just so that there will be no duplicity insofar as the cases which are being investigated. Ngayon, kung kami naman po ay bibigyan ng ombudsman ng deputation, as in this case, we were deputized to conduct the PI for the 5 cases, itutuloy po namin yan at kung ano man ang maging resulta ng aming investigasyon, ay subject pa rin po yan ng approval ng ating ombudsman.
Sir, baliw lang sabi niyo po, wala pang ebidensyang hawak kayo na magli-link sa proponents sa mga DPWH officials. I think that's what I heard you say. Yung sinabi po nila dun sa, under oath dun sa Kongreso at Senado where they were basically testifying against self-interest and linking all these other legislators. Hindi pa ho yun tatayo sa isang kaso?
Well, sir, if you're asking me if it is considered or it may be considered as evidence, yes, it may be considered as evidence. But the question is it sufficient to meet the quantum of evidence to get a conviction, which is proof beyond reasonable doubt? Kaya po ang ginagawa po ng department ngayon, hindi po basta lamang na dahil may binanggit na pangalan, sampahan na kaagad natin ang kaso. Dahil even all these revelations, even all these disclosures made in statements are still subject to validation. And it has to be accompanied by something that can corroborate it. Para pagdating po sa husgado, mas matibay po yung tayo ng kaso. Hindi lamang po siya for the purpose of filing, but it's something that can withstand the rigors of trial and kaya po nating abutin hanggang dulo na meron pong maparusahan at meron pong ma-hold accountable.
And so, itong first batch of cases that you are filing, what specific charges will these be? Malversation, narinig naman yung malversation from former Justice Secretary Justice Secretary Boying Remulla. What else?
Malversation, there's direct bribery, violation of the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Law, ma'am. So far, that's what we have. But also, we can already inform you that apart from these cases which are undergoing preliminary investigation, we have cases which are already being evaluated by our prosecutors. However, these are not yet docketed as cases for PI. These are for evaluation para tingnan po kung sapat na po yung nag-gather na ebidensya ng NBI at ito po ay pwede nang gumalaw at mag-move forward into a preliminary investigation.
Attorney,
Opo.
lumabas na sa lungga si Elizalde ko, no? Kung sakasakali, kasi sabi niya he's claiming threat to his life. Kung sakasakali, pwede bang magpadala lang siya from abroad ng affidavit signed tungkol dan sa mga statement niya? Kasi lahat naman sinasabi, bali wala naman niya sinasabi mo unless you submit a sworn statement. Pwede bang kahit nasa abroad siya, padala lang ng affidavit signed, properly notarized, yung hindi peking notary ha, para lang ibigay yung side niya? Pwede ba yun?
Well, it's something that can start off the investigation as long as it is something which should probably be apostilled or executed and notarized before a consulate in the country where he is. Then that's something that can start the ball rolling in so far as looking into his allegations po. Kasi tulad po ng binanggit ko kanina, Ma'am Amy, hindi po ibig sabihin na dahil sa may mga pinangalanan at may mga aligasyon doon, agad-agad, ito po ay magiging basihan na ng kaso. Kailangan po tingnan natin kung kaya po itong makorroborate at kaya po itong mabalidate.
So sa prosecutor siya muna pupunta, no? Yung statement niya. Kasi yung ibang mga sinabi niya, kailangan, I think you will lead siguro a law enforcement agency to investigate, di ba?
Ang
Ipapasa niyo ba sa kanila or you will be coordinating kung sakasakali lang? Nasa inyo ipadala.
Ang binanggit po sa pagkakaalala ko dun sa mga napanood kong video na pinadala ni former congressman ko, may mga binabanggit po siya ng mga opisyalis ng pamahalaan. And considering that these are salary grade 27 and above, this would have to be forwarded, whatever his statement is, to the Office of the Ombudsman for purposes of validation. And then, ang Ombudsman na po ang magpapadala dun sa kanilang parang field investigation office to try and validate po itong mga sinasabi ni former congressman po.
Ah.
I
Nakamute
think
ka.
Ronald is on
ah.
mute. Ronald, I think you're on mute.
Ronald, nakamute ka.
In relation sa sinabi ni Ami, halimbawa pumunta siya sa isang consulate or embassy at doon siya maglalabas, pipirma sa isang sworn testimony.
Opo.
Posible ba siyang hulihin o i-detain ng ating consulate or embassy? Baka yun kasi baka takot siya na gawin yun. Assured ba siya na hindi siya huhulihin kung sakali?
Sa ngayon po, wala pong basihan para hulihin siya. Kasi, remember sir, there is no case which is filed against him yet. So, he cannot be considered a fugitive such that if he goes to the embassy, which is considered also part of Philippine soil, the Philippine laws can be extended and implemented. So, ang purpose lamang po nun is para pumasok siya sa jurisdiction ng ating mga authorities. Kaya natin sinasabi na siguro kailangan niyang magpakita doon sa embasiya natin, sa kung anong bansa man siya naroon. Pero kung dun sa tanong niyo, Sir Ronald, kung pwede na siyang hulihin, sa tingin ko po sa ngayon wala pa. Kung wala pa naman pong kaso na isasampa laban sa kanya, at kung wala naman pong warrant of arrest that was probably issued by a competent court, whether the Sandigan Bayan or the Regional Trial Court.
Speaking of sworn testimonies, sir, ano na po yung balita dun sa investigation nyo into the testimony of Orly Guteza? Last we heard the DOJ was investigating it upon the orders of the Manila Trial Court that found that it was falsified. What did you guys find?
Well, as it is right now, ma'am, no, we have to, yung kasing order po ng husgado, which to date, I have not seen yet. We have requested for a copy already. Will be forwarded to the National Bureau of Investigation. Kasi kailangan pong suriin doon kung ano po ang maaaring isang pangkaso labang doon sa mga tao na most likely nag-falsify noong document na yon. At sila po ay magagawa ng investigasyon bago po yan maisampa or mapadala sa Department of Justice. Now, remember also that Orly Gutesa was never investigated by the Department of Justice before. He came out only in the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearing. He did not make any mention that he was asking for any protection. So there was no coordination that was made with the Department of Justice, particularly the Witness Protection Program. So ang alam lang po namin tungkol kay Mr. Gutesa, yun pong salaysay niya na sinasabi ng husgado, peke yung notaryo na nagnotaryo ng dokumento.
Oh, to this date, you haven't received the court order. Ang tagal na nun. That was few weeks ago.
Yes, ma'am. We've seen unofficial copies already. So nagpapakuha na kami sa husgado para na sa ganon maipadala sa NBI, no? For purposes of them starting or to look into the investigation, do an investigation on the alleged falsification.
Sir,
Attorney, sabi ni Justice Secretary John Vic, iimbestigahan nyo daw ng DOJ yung mga possible seditious statements kagabi doon sa People Power Monument. Meron bang anything new there? Baka may update kayo para sa amin.
I saw that also in the news, Ma'am Amy, pero wala po akong nalalaman pa ngayon na nire-refer sa amin for purposes of investigation. Alam ko po, we did have a coordination meeting with the law enforcement agencies, the PNP, for purposes of preparations for the rallies dahil sa una-una po gusto nating matiyak na tahimik, payapa ang magiging pagpupulong at pagtitipon dahil iniiwasan po natin yung maulit yung nangyari po noong September 21 where there were forces who intervened, no, and caused some trouble. So bago po nangyari yung rally nitong INC ay nagpatupad na po ng nagpulong nga po kami at pinababantayan lang namin, pinasisiguro namin na maging payapa yung rally. Now, as far as monitoring the statements, I think that's part of law enforcement duties or law enforcement responsibility na kung sakasakali po sa tingin nila, meron po silang basihan para magsampa ng kaso sa amin, amin naman pong titingnan ito at susuriin bago tayo magdesisyon kung meron po talaga may sasampang kaso sa husgado.
pero sir, as the country's chief prosecutor, can you tell us in simple layman's language, ano yung mga elements that would constitute sedition? Article 139. Pero, exactly what are we looking at? Ano yung what would tick the boxes?
Well, if you have statements which would try to induce the public to rise up against government, no, to take arms against government, and probably to take measures, no, to overthrow the government or unseat the government, I think this would fall under that category and would be basis for the possible filing of cases for sedition.
Yes, sir.
Or inciting to sedition.
I asked that kasi so far, what we've heard mostly so far are, people calling for people in government to resign.
Yes.
Would that fall under sedition or inciting to sedition?
Sa akin po, sa pananaw ko, sir, hindi pa naman siya papatak doon sa punto na tawag nito.
Tumultuous,
Yes, so kasi pagpapahayag po ng kanilang opinion, pagpapahayag po ng kanilang mga hinaing, at titingnan din po kasi natin ano bang pinanggagalingan itong mga binibitawang salita nitong mga tao nito. Well, sabi nga natin, ito po yung dala ng galit at probably dissatisfaction with itong mga flood control projects. Siyempre, lalo po hong na-highlight yan with all the calamities that we're facing. People's emotions really get stirred. But if you're talking about inciting to sedition, ang sinasabi po kasi nito is you encourage people to resist, rebel, or cause public disorder, no? Na so far naman sa nakikita natin, let's say for example, yung rally ng INC, well, these are mostly people talking, pero wala pa ho akong nakikita na nagbigay ng pahayag na sinasabi na dapat alisin na natin sa pagkakaupo ang kung sino mang mga nasa pwesto sa ngayon.
How about calls, attorney? Calls for the military to withdraw support?
Well, that's
Kasi
something.
sinisigaw na yan sa EDSA. Sinisigaw na ng mga UPI at saka nung Maysug. no? At directly, sumisigaw na sila na pabagsakin ng gobyerno.
Well, in that instance, that's a different story altogether, Sir Ronald. Kasi, syempre, yung ganyan, alam natin na the military, the head of the military is the president, being the commander-in-chief. And
Yes.
when you're asking the military to practically withdraw its support as against the president, it already means that you're trying to unseat a sitting president simply because you want the issues that you want to be addressed immediately. So yung sa tingin ko, sa pananaw ko, yung ganong klaseng mga aksyon na tinatawagan yung military at sinasabi na i-withdraw yung support, that is a more serious pronouncement than any speech which is given just because galit yung tao or mas maang loob sa mga nangyayari sa ngayon.
Pero sir, just calling on the military to withdraw support, that to you is already bordering on inciting to sedition? Is that already a tumultuous uprising that would be chaotic?
Kasi ang mangyayari po niyan is when you encourage others through words, through writings, no, to rebel against or cause public disorder. What will happen if, for example, the military withdraws its support from the sitting government? Hindi ho ba magkakagulo yan? Para mo nang sinasabi na tanggalin mo na yung suporta mo dyan sa nakaupong mga opisyal dahil sa hindi na namin gusto yung kanilang ginagawa at kailangan po silang ma-unseat. All I'm saying is that this is a more serious call than people just making speeches or ranting or talking about the ongoing disappointments as a result of the flood control projects. Kasi it stirs hatred already. It stirs hatred in the eyes of the people who are in attendance in these rallies, sir.
And understand, sir. Pero sir, at the very least, sir, what actions or what elements would tick the boxes and be actionable as far as the prosecution service is concerned?
Well, ang tawag nito, kung halimbawa pong hindi na po napapayagan or for example, government is no longer allowed to perform the functions that it's supposed to perform on a daily basis, that's one matter that we have to look into. If people already try to instigate others to start public disorder, that's something also that should be looked into and should be strongly considered. And, well, yun na nga, kung halimbawang sinasabi natin yung maliban sa mga chance, I think those two are the ones which would be considered something which is more serious than any other allegation or any other chance which would be made.
May element of disruption and possible violence. Yan ang sinasabi nyo.
Yes, ma'am.
Hindi lang basta salita.
Hindi lang po basta salita, Ma'am Amy, kasi tawag nito, this has to be coupled with this has to be coupled also with overt acts, no, which can be the basis for whatever criminal action that may be filed.
Okay. Isa na lang, pahabol ko lang, attorney. Kumusta yung mga iniimbestigahan ninyong mga local officials na umalis sa Pilipinas noong panahon ni Tino sa Kaungan? Any update on them? Hindi ba may balak daw kayong kayo ba nag-handle nun? Baka may balak daw kayo na file yun eh.
Are you referring to the officials who were out of the country or flew out of the country?
Yes, so sa inyo naka-refer yun? May any update on that?
Hindi po. This is a pronouncement made by the DILG Secretary, ma'am.
Yeah,
Kasi,
DILG, oo.
Opo. Kasi tinitingnan po dyan yung possible administrative
Pero hindi
violation.
pinasa sa DOJ yun?
Kung administrative lamang po ang kanilang tinitingnan, then it will have to be the DILG that will handle that. Pero kung meron po itong kaakibat na sabihin nating violation ng probably revised penal code, then yan po ay ma-refer po sa prosecution office.
Oh, okay, so wala sa DOJ ha? Wala pa sa DOJ?
Wala pa po. We just heard the calls and I think DILG is continuously doing its investigations as far as those who left the country po.
Okay.
Sir, konting review lang sir, para lang klaro, tama ho ba yung paghihibay ng jurisdiction ninyo versus the ombudsman is yung salary grade 27? Yun ho ba yung cut-off?
Hindi po, hindi lang po salary grade 27 Sir Ed. Bali po if the party who is being charged is salary grade 27 and above, if the offense is committed in relation to the performance of his functions,
Opo.
and if the case is among those cognizable by the Sandigan Bayan, dapat po sa ombudsman po
Ombudsman
yan.
na.
Pero wala pong makapagpipigil sa ombudsman kung gusto po nilang i-deputize ang Department of Justice for the purpose of conducting the preliminary investigation and or yung tinatawag nating possible prosecution kung darating na po tayo sa husgado.
But as a general rule, if it's beyond salary grade 27 in
That's the
performance of
ombudsman.
their duties, wala hong ano doon yung prosecution service.
Wala po. Sabi ko nga po, it would fall within the primary jurisdiction of the ombudsman, pero pwede po nila kaming i-deputize. Halimbawa na lamang po niyan is yung kaso po ng former President Erap Estrada. Although the case that was filed was for plunder, initially the case was referred to the Department of Justice for the conduct of the preliminary investigation po. And the prosecution was also handled by the Department of Justice.
Sir, yung 27, ano rango yun? That's congressman up or ano?
Yes, sir. Congressman, hindi lang ako tiyak, sir, kung ang mayor, parang ang mayor yata is, hindi ko alam kung
Should be below
26 lang siya or 27.
27. Oo.
Okay.
Before we let you go, sir, just wanted to get a quick update on the case ni Senator Bato de la Rosa. Has the DOJ received the alleged arrest warrant from the ICC? And if you do get it, even if you don't have it now, what's the DOJ gonna do here? Kasi of course, there's complicating factors, not least of which is the petition that he filed before the Supreme Court questioning the legality of the arrest of former President Duterte. So how will you handle all of that?
To answer your first question, ma'am, if there is anything definite already insofar as the warrant of arrest, wala pa po. Up to now, we have not seen a copy. We have not received a copy of the warrant of arrest coming from the ICC. Ngayon, kung halimbawa naman po na dun sa punto ng what if in the event we do receive it, what action will the department take? Well, there are views that we should do the same thing that was done with the arrest of the former president. But, syempre, again, if you ask me, the circumstances then are different from the circumstances now. At that time when former President Duterte was arrested and brought to The Hague, wala pa ho itong mga petisyon na ito eh. Ito po mga petisyon na to ay finally Senator Bato, I think, if I'm not mistaken, because he also had this feeling na baka mamaya lumabas nga yung warrant para sa akin, no? It would not really serve the purpose of the former president but more of Senator Bato. Having said that, considering that the case is now before the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court has not yet acted on it, I would deem it best that we await the decision of the Supreme Court on the matter para definitive ho tayo sa kung anong aksyon ang pwede nating kunin. Meron pong nagsaad na sinasabi hindi na pwedeng gawin yung dati because of yung extradition. Pero this is a position that the department does not agree with for the simple reason na nakasaad po sa 9851, yung sa International Humanitarian Law, that there are really two options which are available. One is extradition, the other one is surrender. So to constrict government by saying that extradition is the only track, I think is premature up until then or up until when the Supreme Court decides on the petition which is pending before it.
But isn't it also true that extradition can't be an option kasi the ICC is not a sovereign nation. Extradition can only exist between two sovereign states that have treaties, and the ICC is not a country.
You're correct. You're correct there, ma'am. That's precisely the point why we find it difficult to accept that extradition would be the mode, considering that yes, ICC is an international criminal court. It's a judicial body. It's not a state with which the Philippines has an extradition treaty. So, yun po yung sinasabi natin na paano tayo magre-resort to extradition. No? So that's why we're saying that as far as government is concerned, we should not be constricted into an option, no, which is not even really clear because, as you stated, we're not dealing with a sovereign state. We're dealing with an international judicial body.
So let me
Pero
see.
attorney, bakit gano'n ang posisyon ni ex-Executive Secretary Bersamin at ex-Supreme Court
Ex na ba?
Justice Chief Bersamin? Bakit gano'n ang posisyon niya dyan sa usapin ng extradition?
I wish I could surmise on what the executive secretary was basing it on po, sir. Pero siguro hindi ko lang po alam, no. I'm just guessing that remember that the Supreme Court came out with parang guidelines po ngayon sa extradition, no, para ipaliwanag kung paano talaga yung proseso. Pero yun na nga, nung binitawan po yun ni Executive Secretary, with all due respect, syempre kailangan po nating tingnan. Hindi naman natin sinasabi na, since ginawa natin ganito yung ginawa nung time ni former President Duterte, ganito rin ang gawin natin. Meron po tayong, kumbaga, we have to be a bit more circumspect now because like I said, the situation now is a bit different. There are petitions pending before the Supreme Court, which I believe should first be resolved. So once and for all, the direction or the correct action that should be taken is the one that we will follow. If the Supreme Court says extradition and they explain it in the resolution, then we will have no other recourse but to follow it. But all that we're saying is that we cannot, hindi natin pwedeng sabihin na yung extradition kasi marami hong ipapaliwanag paano tayo mag-extradite sa isang body na hindi naman po sovereign state. Diba? So, mas maigi na po na hintayin na lang po natin yung resolution po ng Korte Suprema dun sa bagay nito.
So
Or imbitahin ni Ed saka ni Reg si former Executive Secretary Bersamin dito sa Storycon.
we will try. Pero sir, to be very clear, ibig sabihin, if the Supreme Court says the arrest of Duterte was illegal, then you will follow that directive. And let's say when the arrest warrant, if the arrest warrant comes for Senator Bato de la Rosa, and then the Supreme Court says it's illegal, it's not right, then you will not surrender or extradite him. Is that correct?
Well, whatever
Susundan
the
yung Supreme
Supreme Court
Court
says and however the Supreme Court rules is the position or that will be the direction that the Department of Justice will follow.
Okay.
But on the other hand, you can turn over someone to the Interpol, hindi ba? Yan naman yung
Yes.
quota, hindi naman extradition yan eh.
Yes, yeah. Kaya nga po, Ma'am Amy, yung sinasabi ko kanina na, di ba, extradition versus surrender, there is this matter about Interpol, no? Na kahit paano pang sabihin natin, there is this principle of comity and
Yes,
reciprocity.
we are a member.
Where since we are members of an international community, we have international obligations and responsibilities that we have to perform. So, hindi po natin pwedeng baliwalain yun. Otherwise, ang mangyayari po niyan, pag meron po tayong hihilingin na tayo naman po ang humingi, baka sabihin sa atin, bakit namin ipagkakaloob sa inyo, kayo hindi nyo kinikilala yung inyong mga obligasyon sa ilalim ng tawag nito, ng international agreements natin.
Pero sir, ano yung impact ng petition ni Attorney Torreon ng Supreme Court for a TRO, given the fact that apparently wala pang iti-TRO kasi hindi
Wala
pa
namang
lumalabas
actionable,
yung...
hindi actionable.
Oh,
yun,
is it
di ba?
already actionable or is it premature to file a petition for a TRO for something that is apparently not yet there?
Not yet happening.
Well, hindi ko rin po alam kung anong nasa kaisipan ni Attorney Torreon. Siguro po gusto niyang pangunahan, no, na in the event na dumating po yung warrant, sige, pigilan natin, mapigilan sila. Pero I think the Supreme Court would also take the cue from the fact that since the executive branch is saying na wala pa naman ho kaming natatanggap, di ba? Ano hong pipigilan natin? Hindi naman po pwedeng maging mag-forecast, no? Magkaroon ng forecast na kung halimbawa mangyari, eto na ang sagot dun sa inyong tanong. A temporary restraining order operates to act or prevent something which is
Already there.
impending. Yes,
Yeah.
impending, or something which is about to happen.
Okay, we will leave that there, but thank you so much for talking to us today. That was Prosecutor General Richard Fadulyon. Thank you, sir. We'll have you back on the show another time.
Okay, thank you very
Thank
much
you, sir.
po to all of you. Thank you, Sir Ed, Ma'am Amy, Sir Ronald, and Ma'am. Maraming salamat po sa pagkakataon.